Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Triforce podcast. We're all really sleepy today.
Yeah, I'm kind of hungover.
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good.
Well, except for
I'm
Lewis.
pretty tired, but I'm pretty good. Bah, I just got like four
Lewis,
espressos.
the only guy with no kids is surprisingly feisty. What a surprise!
So yeah, how you guys going? Did you have a good Valentine's Day? Did you manage to get any time away from the kids to spend it with your lovely significant others? And did you manage to romance them with chocolates and flowers and pink things and hearts and get full into the corporate culture?
Oh.
Did you do anything of that?
My Valentine's Day was a disaster. I forgot that it was Valentine's Day coming up.
That's a good start.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. F went away to Brazil for work. She didn't run away to Brazil. She went to Brazil for work. And
Brazil?
Yeah, I know.
Where does your fucking wife work?
I'll tell you about that in a second, okay? But first of all, as the Uber is pulling up to take her to the airport,
right,
she turns to me and she says, "I've left your Valentine's Day card in the bedside table, so make sure you open that." And I said, "I forgot, and I haven't got you anything. And I love you, and I'll see you soon." And she gets in the cab and gives him this sad little wave. So just as she's leaving for a week,
oh man, was it like raining out and stuff, and like
it was cold and shit, and it was early. You know, she's
on the back seat. There's this like Brazilian tanned man who like turns to her and puts his arm around her,
like a helicopter pilot.
Raul will look after you.
Don't worry.
So yeah. So she's gone, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't get her anything for Valentine's Day. So then I actually asked on Twitter. I announced that I'd forgotten it and I'd fucked up. My Francie, who's a long-time viewer of mine, she suggested that I should write in lipstick on my stomach, Happy Valentine's Day or something like that. And I thought, well, my stomach isn't very impressive, so I don't want to send her a picture of that.
What is impressive, though?
Well, my chest is nice and hairy.
Your chest
my
is
balls,
nice.
Yeah. My chest is hairy. She likes my hairy chest. So I just got a Sharpie and I tried to write Happy Valentine's Day on it so that I could take a picture of it.
What colour Sharpie? How hairy is your chest?
Just a black Sharpie. It's very hairy.
Man, that's not coming off for a long ass time.
It's like trying to use a Sharpie on a blackboard.
I know, but it came off very quickly. But anyway, so I wrote it on there, but I got confused because I was writing in the mirror, and when I was looking at the picture before it took it, it was reversed. So I thought, okay, so if I take a picture of it, it'll be the right way round. If I write it the wrong way around and all this stuff, and I couldn't do the logic, and it came out backwards. So all she got was Happy Valentine's Day in backwards on my hairy chest. So I sent her this picture, and she was like, "That gave me a good laugh, thank you." I was like, "This is not the romantic."
Nice.
I mean, I'm wondering if she was lying there in her suite in Brazil with Raul, laughing. "Look at this stupid fool! He cannot even write properly."
Oh yeah,
leave him.
Leave him. Come with me.
So that was bad enough, and then on. My best mate, who I know listens to the podcast, so don't worry, I'm not going to share any information. But he recently broke up with his girlfriend, and I wanted to go and meet up with him for a pint and cheer him up and find out what the crack was and everything. So I said, "Hey, let's go out Tuesday." So he was like, "Okay, cool." So we meet at the pub, and I said, "God, I'm starving. Let's get something to eat." And as we're going to the restaurant, I said to him, "Shit, it's fucking Valentine's Day, dude. I just remembered." He's like, "Oh, you thinking we won't get a table?" I was like, "No, I'm thinking they're going to think we're a gay couple, like going into the restaurant, having a romantic meal."
Yeah, God, yeah. I didn't even consider
it just occurred to me. So we go in there, and everyone in there is a couple, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then there's me and my mate. And the guy sees us, and he gives us this coy little smile, like the waiter. I'm not even kidding. And I was like, oh my goodness, they think we're a gay couple. And I said to him, we have to order the manliest shit on the menu and like not gaze into each other's eyes even for a second. Even if, no matter how much we want to gaze into each other's eyes, we can't do that.
Hi, yes, I'll have the giant sausage with 2 potatoes, please. God, I'm so hungry, I can't wait to gobble it all up. Oh,
love that sausage. Give me some white sauce for the sausage, please. Yeah, it was funny. But anyway, so Jesus, we didn't give a shit anyway. So we just ate the meal and tried to talk about football as much as possible.
Okay,
and that was that.
Yeah.
But so then we got really drunk and it got very, very emotional, and we were both sort of too drunk for it, really.
Dear.
And yeah, it was just kind of a shitty Valentine's Day because I was like, shit, I pissed off Mrs. F. My friend is sad, and now I'm sad. And I was like, happy Valentine's Day, folks. We did it.
Well, listen, I've got a different Valentine's Day story. Mine goes a little something like this, okay? We stopped celebrating Valentine's Day altogether, like when we had kids, because it was just one of those things like, do we have to get each other cards? It's like real pain. We have to go out and we have to buy the cards. And we have to write the cards. And we don't have time to do this stuff. So like, can we just not do it? And we were both like, yeah, let's not do it. But the day before Valentine's Day, and actually, this wasn't planned in any way around Valentine's Day, but the day before, on one of those rare occasions where you get somebody to look after your kids, and we went to go see Trainspotting 2 in a theater with literally nobody in it. The whole theater was empty because it was like 2 p.m, and we went to see it, and it was really good.
So that was this Valentine's Day, was it? So that was
No, that was Monday. That was like the day before Valentine's Day. Nice. It had nothing to do with Valentine's Day, but it worked out so perfectly that it's like one of those things. It's like, yeah, that's what we did for Valentine's Day. We did it a day early, and we did something fun, and that was it. But it wasn't really anything to do with it at all. And we didn't exchange cards or anything like that either.
I mean, you two,
like on actual Valentine's Day, in the evening, I started a new Hearts of Iron 4 campaign by myself in the kitchen.
I've been doing a lot of that as well, yeah.
Damn it, you two.
It's a great game to just casually... Because you can just pause it and go and do other shit if you need to. I like that.
It is, but man, the fucking British drive me crazy. I fucking hate how much Navy they have, and the fact that they just can so easily do naval invasions anywhere they want. Like, it drives me nuts. Like, you really have to fucking guard your coasts and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can just... here's the thing. It doesn't actually take much to prevent a naval invasion early on. Because they don't have... their landing craft is shit. They don't have Marines... And like one pitiful unit of infantry will completely fuck their landing, and it'll at the very least hold them up long enough. So it's still
annoying though, because it's annoying. Like the AI is just triggered to fucking land.
Yeah.
Like as soon as it sees like some sort of weak ass opportunity, it's like, oh, hang on, a desert tile in the middle of Africa that we could possibly do a landing invasion, and then they just spread like fucking locusts. Like the minute they land, they just start coming in and taking over territory and stuff. It's just like, oh, fuck off! Like, don't you have anyone better to invade than like?
So, Jesus Christ, let's. I didn't feel like I had to put a pin in that at some point.
Not bitter. I'm not bitter about it.
I mean, you two. You don't sound very romantic, but I know both of you do make these sort of occasional romantic gestures, right? Occasionally they pop out, and you can't help yourselves. You're very gentle.
What pops out?
What
it pops out.
Yeah,
that's as romantic as it gets.
Right. Yeah, that's about it. It's like 2 a.m. You're covered in baby barf. There's like dishes piled up to the ceiling. All the lights in your house are still on somehow and stuff. And you sit down and you look over to your wife and you're like, guess what just popped out? She's like, fuck off.
Yeah. The beautiful romantic nature of marriage and kids, being a dad. Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Absolutely.
Holy shit.
That's how it goes.
Oh, there's something special about that, though.
This is why sometimes I think, like, if you had 2 guys in a relationship, I mean, 2 gay guys, obviously, I'm going to assume that all the guys I know, including myself, they want to have sex with their partner pretty much all the time. So surely if you have 2 gay guys in a relationship, they're both going to want to have sex all the fucking time. That must be awesome.
Yeah.
You could just wake your pal up. Hey, buddy, check this out. Just whip it out. He'd be like, yeah, I'm down to clown. Let's do this.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because men are always down to fuck.
Not
Therefore,
always,
2 guys.
But they do seem to be...
Yeah, men pretty much.
I mean?
I know I am. So, yeah.
Lewis is always fucking revved up and ready to go.
Yeah.
He's strapped. He's locked and loaded.
We've got a straw poll of 3 here. And,
Dude wants to fuck all the time.
All of us are...
We've been criticised in the past for our chats about this stuff and sweeping generalizations. But on this one, I know we're right, boys. Yeah. I know we're right.
So, I've got a feeling. How can you be wrong? That's what
I can't be wrong.
That's what
my life experience.
Where I'm at right now.
Our life experience is too broad and deep for this to be anything other than 100% correct and the truth, provably. So anybody that has a problem with that is clearly mistaken and should have a good long hard look at themselves.
Yeah. So hang on, Lewis. Like, we've kissed and told now about our Valentine's Day. What did you get up to for Valentine's Day?
Oh, I'm not sure I can tell you.
Did you take a picture of yourself laying in a bed of flower petals with no clothes on, but the petals were just like arranged to, sort of make you more presentable for your Tinder profile? Is that what you did? Happy Valentine's Day, ladies. Come and get the hot stuff. Whoa.
Yeah, my Tinder profile is just my sexy abs with, I love you written on it backwards in Sharpie.
Hey,
and
sweet.
No flame. That was a good idea. Okay.
No flame.
I was a little bit concerned when you were talking about it because it sounds like it'd be written so childishly that I was worried that your wife might have thought that one of you got one of the kids to write it.
Like a mix of capital and lowercase letters, all backwards and shit.
It was, and the E is the wrong way around, and I tried to put an apostrophe, and it just looked like a squiggle, and
it's like childish kind of crayon level writing. But no.
But if I write on a card, it's like that too.
Yeah.
Like my handwriting is terrible now.
Now try writing on your own
chest.
chest. Trying to write backwards on your own chest.
Try writing more than a line as well now, and your wrist is just broken.
God,
it's hard work, man. I don't know why anyone does it anymore.
So I'm intrigued now. Wait, so you did do something for Valentine's Day, Lewis, but you don't want to talk about it. Is that right?
Guys, I'm just every time I go to a convention, I just get so many phone numbers and so many girls are all over me,
what
and every stream people are chatting me up and stuff, and DMing me on Twitter.
You fucking hung out with your mum, didn't you?
It's well, she was pretty lonely. No, I didn't hang out with my mum, but no, it was good. It was fine. It was nice. It was a nice Valentine's Day. I haven't had a particularly nice Valentine's Day for a while, I must admit.
Right.
Do you know who you remind me of? I've been watching Parks and Recreation. Have you ever seen that show?
Yeah, of course I have. Yeah.
I think you're a bit like Chris Traeger in Parks and Recreation. The healthy eating guy. No, that's Community, dude.
Whoops.
Parks and Recreation. It's Rob Lowe. He's a very positive guy. He's always into we got to eat right and all this kind of stuff. And every time he says stuff like that, I always think of Lewis. I always do. So I think you're turning into Chris Traeger.
My body is a temple.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm a guy for I'm a sucker for a bit of a romantic gesture. Definitely. If it's I remember
reach around.
Oh God!
It's a gesture.
It is a gesture.
I feel like I've got stories to tell, but
you don't have to. It's private.
It is it's private stuff. I don't have to tell all of my stories. Maybe in future.
Yeah,
I can tell you some of them.
That's fine. I mean, we told you ours, and we were pretty upfront and transparent about it.
Pretty open
if this is the line you want to go down, cool. Maybe I just won't talk about stuff in future on the podcast. If that's the kind of climate that we're going for.
I don't know what I did yesterday. I don't want to talk about it.
Men don't talk to each other about.
I did something real fucking important.
Wow.
But I'm not telling you.
This is a big problem, though, Sips and Purian. I feel like, people act like you going out and having a heart-to-heart with your bro is something that doesn't happen very often between guys. Guys kind of don't talk about relationships very often, or what they're doing, or
not in a group. I'd say I mean, we've been friends for 30 years or something. Well, longer than that, really. Yeah. So we're very old friends, and he is my best friend. So in that regard, certainly he's someone that I'd talk to. But we're not as open as. I feel like it's still fairly guarded at times. Whereas I know that Mrs. F has had conversations with friends of hers where the details that they come out with are so specific. Here's this is a funny thing.
Okay.
This is
he wrote the E's backwards. It was really weird.
Raoul couldn't even read it.
She went out on I think it was a hen night or someone's birthday, a friend of hers anyway, and there was another girl there. There was a bunch of girls.
Was it the typical hen night? Were they wearing penis hats?
It was not actually a hen night. It was a birthday. It was a 40th birthday. So I think they were just dressed up. I'm sorry, I misremembered. So they went out and they were having a very, very frank discussion about all of their sex lives, and women do this a lot more than men do. Men don't talk frankly about their sex lives.
I don't think I've almost ever had a conversation.
I think men embellish.
Exactly.
We will brag. They speak frankly, but it's bragging and exaggerated.
Exactly.
I think.
Whereas they were talking about the reality, and they were being very frank about the reality. So this one girl that was there was talking about the fact that her husband wants to have sex with her all the time. She's a very attractive girl, but she just can't be bothered.
Right.
So she's just decided that she's going to get extremely good at giving blowjobs, because if she gives him a blowjob, he's happy, and it's much easier for her. So she just does that. So she's just like, yeah, I've just perfected my blowjob technique, so I don't have to have sex with him anymore. That's it.
Right.
It's just as a time-saving measure. And I thought, God, that's so practical. It's actually not sexy. That is not sexy at all. Just that she's treating
this
it
sounds absolutely awful.
I know.
That's like there's a Louis C.K. thing about that, like the really sad blowjob. I think it was either on his show or he had a routine about it, and it was like sort of like that as well. It was just I'm desperate for sex. You don't want to have any sort of physical contact with me whatsoever, but you'll consider blowing me. It's just like so depressing.
Oh, man.
Holy shit!
But she's a busy married woman. She's got kids and everything. She just wants to get it over. She understands that he's going to keep bugging her about it, and I guess she's just thought this is the easiest solution to this problem. And in some regards, I respect the logic that she's figured out a solution that's easy, it suits her, and he's too clueless to notice. He just thinks, holy shit, I'm getting all these awesome blowjobs, this is great. But secretly, he's not getting what he really wants, and she knows that she's still just giving him as much as she can be asked to, which I thought was kind of funny.
Right.
I mean, going into this, like, two questions. So many questions. One, like, why do they not have... I don't know where to start. First of all, I guess fair enough, right? She's not going to have like the 4 hours to give over to like the normal kind of sex session. That's just what I'm throwing out there, right?
4 hours.
If it's
damn.
So maybe she's just not available for that level of time commitment.
No, that's it. Yeah, she just wants. She's tired. She just wants to keep him happy, and that's that. I just thought that was a funny solution. But the fact that she just told the group this, she was just happily telling the group, and they're all talking about what their men prefer and all this kind of stuff, and I'm thinking, damn. That is a raw conversation.
But then again, that basically the first thing that puts into my head is that she doesn't like sex with that guy. That's all it is. Like either they're not very compatible together.
No, it's just after a while. I think she's just thinking that it's like doing the laundry. Doing something that's just like a chore that you have to plow through.
Women are weird like that.
It's no big deal.
They can have these conversations like very sort of like open and they relate. Yeah, and they relate to each other a lot better than men do, I think, and stuff. Like it's really strange, but
people always get super salty when we talk about this stuff.
They do,
by the way, but because they think we're so naive and clueless, and I think we probably are.
No. Here's the thing: is that I'm talking about a room full of married women. Okay, and I guarantee you, most of the people that are commenting are young people. And sure, when I was 20, I don't think that the way things were when I was 20 compared to the way things are now. I'm 40, and there are different groups of people. So although you may say, "Oh, you don't know people at all," I'm like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck 18-year-olds are talking about anymore, but I know what 42-year-olds are talking about.
I know what they're fucking talking about. They're talking about Drake and like fucking,
Yeah, talking about Drizzy and those
Facebook
guys. Yeah,
and 9/11 conspiracy theories.
Oh.
No, fuck. I don't know if they're talking about that.
So this is something which you've just Tips mentioned at the start of the podcast.
What a fucking segue. I mean, seriously. I mentioned it in passing.
But you didn't want to talk about it.
But it was like an embarrassed thing. It was like, oh my God, I can't help myself. It's like a guilty pleasure, Sips. I know exactly what you mean, though. It's like, it's like imagining an alternate reality, and there's something kind of alluring about it, though, right? Like,
it's so, like, okay, so.
Tell us your experience.
So I've been watching, like, some documentaries recently. Like, I've broken my Overwatch habit. So when I break like a binge habit,
you have to find some new addiction to fill that hole.
Right.
Okay.
And I haven't found a game that's really like sucked me in. I've been jumping around different games and stuff, and that's been pretty enjoyable actually. Which means that now naturally I'm gravitating more towards watching series on Netflix and stuff. And because of time constraints and stuff with the kids and whatever, my wife's like super tired all the time. Sometimes we manage to like watch like Fargo or some series that we're watching or whatever. But oftentimes like I just have time somehow to fucking laze around and watch stupid ass documentaries and stuff. And some of them are really good, and some of them are kind of like, I'm not sure what I think about this or whatever. So I fucking I made the mistake actually of watching a bunch of fucking 9/11 conspiracy theories, and then I started reading about them, and I'm just like, oh, I just feel like trapped in this strange world of like conspiracy and weird fucking thoughts on stuff and everything, and I don't know what I believe anymore, and I'm very confused, and I'm a bit scared as well. But like, so, you know, some of the stuff with the evidence and everything, you think like, okay, maybe, you know, like, but you know, some of it is a bit of a leap, right? Like some of it is like, I don't know if I can actually realistically believe that and take myself seriously after believing that sort of thing. So I'm sitting around and my wife like comes to bed because like the baby was up. She was tending to the baby and stuff, and I'd just like gone to sleep, and she comes up to bed.
She whispers in your ear, Bush did 9/11.
No. She was
night,
like,
sweetie.
I heard her come into the room, so I like opened my eyes, and she's like, oh, you know, finally, baby's finally down. I'm going to go to sleep and stuff. I was like, oh, yeah, me too. And she's like, what were you watching before? And I was like, oh, just some fucking garbage about 9/11, like conspiracy theory. And she's like, don't fucking watch that stuff. What are you doing? And I was like, I know, but like, you know, some of it makes sense and stuff. And she's like what? I was like, well, fucking, you know, like what happened to the plane that hit the Pentagon? Like it just fucking vaporized. Like there was nothing left of it. Like how, you know, what's going on with that? And she gave me that look. I was like, okay, fine. Yeah, I'll stop watching this stuff. Like, she just looked at me. She gave me that look, and it was like, how the fuck do you have any time to concern yourself with this shit, with all of the other shit that we've got going on? Like, what are you doing? Like, where do you find the free time? And I was like, oh, God. I felt super bad. And I was just like, but then this morning, there I am fucking reading about it again. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why am I doing this to myself?
Well,
like,
right, here's what you got to do. Here's what anytime you come across a conspiracy theory, someone out there will have done a site where they debunk everything with simple physics and pictures and news reports and actual sources beyond what you get on those sites, which is just statements, not backed up by evidence. More often than not, it's just like they'll show a very grainy piece of mobile camera footage, and they'll be like, see, what's that, huh? Yeah. It's like, it's not proof of anything. It's just, this is what conspiracy theories are founded on, is that nowadays everybody's filming everything all the time, and film is a terrible way. If you've got one angle, distant, grainy, it's kind of hard to see. It's like there are some people who say that they weren't airplanes, and they're like, look, you see, in this shot, you can't see any windows on the plane. That means it's a missile. It's like, no, it's just a bad picture. Like, there are plenty of other pictures where you can see a big fucking plane. Like, why aren't you talking about those? And they'll pick an angle that suits their story. They'll ignore the ones that don't, because they're not actually looking at it evidence-based. Any of these things, all they're looking at is which of these images fit this story. It's like all the flat earth stuff that I've been going on about. It's the same deal.
Well, yeah, you mentioned this. I don't recall you going on about flat Earth stuff.
No.
So please indulge me so that I can stop thinking about 9/11 conspiracy
All right, here's the thing.
theories.
I mean, the 9/11 conspiracy thing is just some guys made the video. It's called Loose Change, I think, right? Because they were implying there were a lot of loose ends and stuff like this.
That's right. That was the big sort of main.
That was the main one. So that one came out, and
sorry, what's it called again?
Loose Change.
Let me get a pen. Okay,
it's like, dude, it's like 2 hours long, and it's just it's ridiculous. And honestly, all of it is debunkable. Now, I know lots of people who have surprised me with their claims that actually there might be something to it and all this kind of stuff, which is kind of ridiculous. And one thing that someone said, taken out of context, becomes a whole reason that it's a conspiracy, like that whole bullet thing. All this stuff, it goes on and on and on, and it's all people going around and around. It's like we were talking about internet communities that pop up. There are a lot of people out there who are perfectly content believing that a conspiracy of this scale just happened. No details have ever come out. You can't do anything nowadays without it leaking, without there being a paper trail, without there being evidence. It's ridiculous that it could happen at all.
Yeah.
But this goes to the flat Earth conspiracy as well. That I looked into it like very deeply. I've watched a ton of videos, read a ton of articles about the flat Earth stuff, all the bizarre things. But I went into a lot of detail, like reading about it as much as I could, and I came to a couple of conclusions. First of all, that they require you to believe.
First of all, I don't give a shit.
First of all, they're obviously wrong. Like none of the stuff that they claim can be proven. It's just they found ways to explain things that have already been proven. The Earth going around the sun. They say that the sun is much smaller and closer to the Earth and just goes around it like a spotlight, right, shining down. You can't prove that. It's impossible to prove. We can prove that the Earth goes around the sun. We can prove it all. It's all provable. You can do it yourself. Like the ancient Greeks proved the Earth was round with a couple of sticks. It's not that difficult to prove this stuff, but they don't look for proof. And I realized as I went deeper and deeper into it was the reason they're not looking for proof is because most of those flat earthers are just deeply, deeply religious. And they're perfectly happy with the fact that it says in scripture that the earth is a disc set upon 4 pillars. So therefore that's it. And that's it. They're not looking for proof. And I think the 9/11 guys, they're not really looking for proof. They've already made up their minds that there is a government conspiracy. So their belief is that the government is out to get them. And once you've got that in your mind, it doesn't matter about proof or what you say or evidence or anything. You just have to believe that. So I think it's the same kind of deal. If you want to go down that road, Sips, you're going to need to empty your mind of logical thought and just believe it. That's it.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not out to be like become a believer, you know what I mean? Like it's just it's interesting to see like what people have come up with and what they have to say and stuff like that, I guess.
Even Pearl Harbor was like had a big conspiracy theory around it, didn't they?
It did, yeah.
The US
they
knew
said that
there was like,
they knew it was going to happen and they let it happen or whatever because
bullshit. It's all bullshit.
Some good reason for it to happen. I don't know.
Anyway, what's the simplest answer? You know, the simplest answer is normally the right one, and the simplest answer is
Jonathan Creek.
Dumb shit happens. Jonathan Creek. Oh my god, I hated that fucking show.
They still make new ones. There was one at Christmas. I like it, man. It's quite chill.
I don't like.
Oh, it's actually.
Is it Alan Davis? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Not
With
a fan.
The floppy hair. He's good. He's good.
Not a fan.
Holy shit! Let's get off this topic like in pronto before the feds get us and like shut us down.
This week, my family has been ravaged and rocked by my son coming home from school with head lice.
Yeah, dude, it sucks so bad.
Oh my god, like it's such a fucking ball ache. You have to get like a solution and you have to give him a fucking bath like more often than he's used to having a bath, and you got to leave this stuff in his hair for. And like 5-year-olds don't want to fucking sit around for 10 minutes. They don't want to sit around for 2 minutes.
Dude, I've got a solution for you. Okay, all right. So I have 2 girls. They both have long hair. It's even worse when they get head lice because you've got to brush that shit through their hair, and their hair is like 10 feet long, right? So I'm just brushing forever and ever.
Oh, God.
So I bought all the solutions and I did all that shit. The best thing is to use loads
This is like serious real life dad advice for dealing with head lice.
Yeah, well,
do I need to hear this?
Yes, this is important.
Yeah.
People out there listening might need this. Here's what you do. You get conditioner.
Just give us. Oh, God, no, sorry, it's fine.
Can I get this fucking life-changing tip out there, please? You get some conditioner.
He wants to spread his tip.
Yeah, you get some conditioner, hair conditioner, and you put it in their hair, like loads of it, absolutely loads of it, and that clings to all the eggs and all the little lice and everything. And then you get this special knit comb. It's like made of metal. It's got spirals on each of the prongs of the comb. It's like very, very, very fine spirals, and you brush through their hair entirely, one by one. Like every single strand of hair has to get brushed all the way from root to tip, the whole thing, and you're constantly rinsing off the nits and stuff like that, and you brush out all the conditioner. I cannot remember what the comb is called, but it's like this amazing.
We got it.
What, the metal one?
Yeah, it's the metal one with it looks like it's got like little drills
right
on it, sort of thing. Yeah,
but you don't need any of that lotion. That does fuck all.
No, I know. We tried the lotion and then we moved to that.
And then I tie my kids' hair up.
Yeah.
And like if it just send them in with a fucking cap or something and say, like I said to my girls, don't touch the other kids at school, they'll give you lice. Like I scared them off the other kids. Don't go near the other kids. If they say, hey, let's all have a big hug, I'm like, you tell them, get the fuck away from me. I don't want bugs in my hair. Get away from me. So that's what I coached them on. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Scare them off.
Yeah. That life advice could just apply to boys forever, you know.
Yeah.
Never go near any boys.
Don't go near them. All the boys have lice. Stay away.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've just been fucking dealing with that. Like when it first happened, he was upstairs having a bath, and then my wife was just like, Chris, come quick. And I was like, wait a second. Like, this gotta be serious. Like, she barely ever refers to me by my proper first name. You know, like in a house with kids, you're known as like dad or dada or daddy or whatever. And that's what you're called all the time.
Yeah.
So she's like, Chris, come here. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, what the hell's going on?
Even
like,
I call you dad when I'm round.
Do I need to get a fucking phone like ready, like for the ambulance or whatever? So I go upstairs. And like my son's just like laughing and just like chucking water and shit all around the bathroom because he's in the bath. And my wife's face, she just looked like I don't know. I was like,
horrified.
What's going on? She's like,
dumbstruck.
He's got head lice. And I left immediately, and I came back with like the shaver. I was like, fuck, we're gonna shave his head. She's like, no, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, what? I thought you just like shaved their heads and wash their hair, and that was it. And
this isn't like Guantanamo Bay.
I had to go to the pharmacy. I had to get this solution that we tried, and it wasn't that great. And like apparently the solution coats the lice, and prevents them from breathing. But lice breathe through their stomach, and they can take in a lot of air and hold their breath for like 10 hours and stuff. So sometimes it doesn't work. And like, oh my God, I found out so much about lice that I didn't really want to know. But now, like, I feel like I'm some sort of fucking expert on it.
Did you find any conspiracies?
They keep coming back. That's the problem. Like, they're so obnoxious. Like, you cannot get rid of them.
Did your school put out a little note in the kids' bag saying...
No, because I think the school just doesn't give a fuck anymore.
Terrible.
Because it happens all the time.
Yeah, but they have to put the note out. Like, we get the note that says there are head lice in the school. It's like got a picture of a little head lice on it, just in case some stupid parent out there was like, head lice. So, you know, they let you know.
Yeah, well, we get the ones like we get the notices about chickenpox and stuff like that, but like head lice is not something that you hear about very often.
Are those notices that you're supposed to like act on though? It's like, you know, Julie has a chickenpox party going on at her house this weekend. Bring your kids so they can all get chickenpox. Is that still a thing?
I don't know if that's a thing.
Okay. That was the thing that my parents
It's not
did.
a thing around here anyway. Maybe we're just backwards, but like we don't do a chickenpox party.
No. Okay. Well, it's better to get it when you're younger, I guess. That's why I was always told.
Like when chickenpox starts though, they get sick. Like they barf and stuff. So like I don't know about you, but like I don't want to be in a room with kids barfing. Like
it's pretty grim.
It's pretty bad. Like, I was trying to explain this to Twitch chat the other day. You know, people are like, oh, it's just a bit of barf, just clean it up. But, like, kids don't just barf perfectly into a toilet. Like, they don't. They don't even think to run to the toilet.
Yeah, they're out of control.
Like, if they're in bed and they're about to be sick, they literally just lay there and throw up on their pillow. Or, like, sometimes sit up and just throw up down themselves and all over the bed sheets.
They don't know the,
you know what I mean?
the feeling. Like they don't
kind
know.
of like The Exorcist.
Yeah, they don't know that it's really coming until it's too late.
Nowadays we're adults. We know. You get oh shit. Oh guys, I think I'm going to be sick.
I can get there.
Yeah, and you're like, okay,
I can run.
Let me get to the bathroom. I think I'm going to be sick. And even if you're not, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Whew, that was close.
And then sometimes when you get to the bathroom and you think I'm not going to be sick, you think, you know, I'll make myself sick anyway, just
to get it over. Exactly.
Just to get it, just to like save the half an hour of being unsure.
Just do a bit of dry heaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just think about, you know, your mum or something. Your mum sips. And, just makes me sick every time.
That was weak.
Yeah, that's a dry heave right there. Yeah.
Just think about his mum, huh? Yeah, his mum. Yeah.
Oh God, I'm sorry, I didn't think that one through.
What else have we done this week? I went through a phase of watching, because they don't make these as much anymore, although apparently there is a documentary coming out or something about it. But
about 9/11?
No, nuclear stuff, nuclear war stuff.
Oh, right.
So there was, in the 60s and the 70s, there were a lot more films about nuclear war. And there's a really good one that I've never seen it on TV. I've never seen anyone talk about it. It's got Walter Matthau and Henry Fonda, and it's called Failsafe.
Right.
There's the standard sort of patrolling bombers that are in the air around the States all the time. The deal is that when there's an alert, more often, you know, the alert is basically like they've picked up something somewhere. So those bombers take off and start heading to their failsafe point, and it's basically a sort of limit around the US. And before they get to that point, you send a signal to them saying, turn back. Otherwise, they crack open their orders and they assume that the war is on. And the reason you have this is so that if an initial strike knocks everyone out and there's no one to tell them to go, rather than have to tell them to go, you have to tell them to stop. That's the only way to prevent the communication lines being broken. You don't, if you can't talk to them, obviously something's happened, so they go on their bombing run.
Right.
And it was all the orders that they've been given are things like, if anyone tries to talk to you, any broadcast, it could be someone impersonating the president, it could be a trick, or it's all this kind of stuff, so that ignore all communications. And they're just set on this course. This one bomber is going to go and nuke Moscow. That's their orders.
Right.
And it's really clever because Walter Matthau plays this warmonger who's like, he's like this intelligence operative, like this tactics guy. He's like, we should actually commit now to a full attack. It's the only way. And everyone's saying you're crazy and everything. And Henry Fonda's trying to talk the Russians down. And it's a really good, tense Cold War thriller.
I think it came out around the same time as Dr. Strangelove. And I think it was one of these things where it's a little bit like two films come along that are the same but different.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Strangelove was obviously this very, very funny, well done satire.
It's a classic, yeah.
Incredibly, it still stands today as like, if you haven't seen it, go on.
Exactly.
It's like, you're missing out. It's a little bit like Volcano and Dante's Peak, or Armageddon and Deep Impact, or in the same year, same fears, the same things happen. And I think this is a case of that. And it's so interesting.
It's worth watching. It is worth watching.
I recommend. So I watched 12 Angry Men.
Oh, that's a great movie. Also Peter Fonda.
The reason I watched it was because I've seen it before, but I watched it again because
I didn't have anything else to do on Valentine's Day, so
it
all comes out.
I tell you what, I had. I was looking. I'll tell you what I did on Valentine's Day evening, and this is the truth. I managed to get some time out of my schedule,
right? And
I had a really hot and spicy date with a microwave curry for one.
Nice.
Okay. Right.
And a little bit of Hearthstone, yeah.
Whoa.
Man, I had a hell of a Valentine's Day, actually. No, so I watched 12 Angry Men with someone who's going to be doing some jury duty lately.
Right.
And yeah, it really does hold up. I think there's an automatic thing in your head that puts you off black and white films, right? As a person today, like I think that we are all tuned to like new stuff. We want everything new. I think that's why YouTube is such a big thing. Like sometimes I'd rather watch something new, or Twitch is a thing. I'd rather watch something on Twitch, even if I know it's going to be boring and crap, compared to like a really well placed, like or slightly older YouTube video, or whatever. Or I'd rather watch a film that's new and out of the cinema rather than something which is really highly recommended but a year old. So I think there's a big problem with like watching black and white films. But I think if you can overcome that, there's actually some incredibly good films that are really worth watching. And it's only an hour and a half, 12 Angry Men. And it's just such a good movie if you haven't seen it. I watched it in the office like one afternoon about 5 years ago, and this one like it gripped me at the time, and I enjoyed it at the time, and I thought I was hanging out with this person who hadn't seen it, so I was like we should watch it, and it was good. It was good. Just shed a little tear at the end. Yeah, it was nice. It was emotional.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I recommend.
Well, I'm glad that you got all emotional and enjoyed your film.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah, when was the last time you cried at something, boys? Ooh. Are you in touch with your emotions like I am?
Yeah, I cry a lot actually when I'm watching videos.
Yeah.
I watch those videos where people come home from a long way or a long time away and they see their loved ones or they see their dog, and it gets very emotional.
So it's like emotional pornography, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's like a compilation of like people returning home from being away for a long time. Like this guy was in prison for 15 years and he sees his kids for the first time or something.
Oh, yeah, it really makes me tear up.
Tearing up.
Yeah.
Get those
You're
fucking
allowed to, as
up.
a man, you're allowed to tear up when other men are emotional, like around their kids or whatever.
It's kind of
that's
like
okay.
Contagious laughing.
Your street cred is still intact.
There's several things that are contagious, right? Yawning, laughing, and then crying is quite contagious. But then barfing is obviously quite contagious as well. Like if someone starts retching, you're going to start retching as well sometimes, I feel.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I got a little tiny bit emotional last weekend. We watched Inside Out. Is it Inside Out?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the part when they're using the wagon with the magic and they're trying to get out of like the pit of forgotten memories or whatever.
Yeah, they're trying to
and they're doing the Bing Bong
It's
thing.
trying to like fly, but it can't.
Yeah. And then Bing Bong does the fucking ultimate sacrifice. He's like, "Hey, Joy, let's try one more time. I got a good feeling about this one." And then they get onto the fucking wagon, and then who's your best friend of all time? Bing bong, doo 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 doo. And then she flies up, and then it makes it because Bing Bong is morbidly obese and was weighing the whole thing down the whole time.
Turns out,
that selfless sacrifice, really, really hit a chord with me, and I was just like, it wasn't like a full cry, but I could feel like a bit of moisture forming.
Could feel like it welling up
just around my cold, dead eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, the Bing Bong sacrifice. I mean, that is a very kind of deliberately placed tearjerker moment, though. That one, it's kind of it's very carefully, it's very handcrafted. It's supposed to make you cry, kind of thing. I think what I like is when I randomly burst into tears at things that aren't supposed to make you cry. Like sometimes I remember I cried when I watched the last Lord of the Rings film when there was like some sort of epic battle going on, or like the ghosts all turned up, or some bit in the movie that I remember from the book. Like when you hear like the
Star Wars theme music blast out in the cinema and you haven't heard it for like 20 years or whatever.
Something like, it's
like a happy cry. Like you're emotionally overwhelmed that like your brain just thinks, oh well, let's turn the tap on. I'm just gonna have a cry.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I quite like it. It's cathartic crying sometimes. I find it relaxing. It resets me. It resets me in a way. It doesn't get me bummed out if if it's something super sad and I'm crying about that. But if it's something, like you said, it's something almost artificial where I'm generating these emotions using a prop, like a movie or a sad clip or a sad story. Like when I read The Road, which is a really depressing book.
Oh God, it's a terrible book.
I cried so much in that book because it's just devastating, and there's some of the lines in that are just incredible, and I was really, really moved, and that really did bum me out because you get so into the characters in the book that was super depressing. But when I watch a video of a guy who hasn't seen his dog in 2 years, and him and the dog are going nuts and crying, and I cry, I just feel like this is good. Like I'm just relaxing here, crying.
Yeah, I remember I was crying one time though, and I felt like really guilty about kind of enjoying it though. I felt like I shouldn't be enjoying the crying.
Did that make you cry more?
No, not really. I just felt a bit like oh, maybe this is weird. I shouldn't be having such a big boner while I'm just crying away.
Oh fuck!
Oh wow!
Oh man! I think the only time I cried after reading a book or during reading a book was I read Tuesdays with Morrie. You remember that?
No, I haven't heard
sad.
of it.
It's like
it sounds like it's about an old man. And
it is. It's about an old man who was very well loved and well regarded in the place that he lived, and he's one of these guys that was the writer of the book would go visit every Tuesday, bring him his favorite bagels and stuff, and listen to like his insights into life and how to be a human being and how to treat people and how to be happy and all this stuff. And he had all this great advice and everything, but he was slowly dying, and like this progressively got worse as the book went on. It makes you think about people in your own life that you maybe don't think about as often as you should. Don't let life like whisk you away from these people. Like don't put it off. Don't put off visiting these people and learning from them and doing all this stuff. And like, fuck, I cried like a baby.
Man.
Like at the end of it, like for hours. It was crazy.
I find a lot of those life lessons that are true. Like, life goes very fast. Make the most of it. Make the most of every day and all this kind of stuff. I'm in the back of my mind, I know all that shit's true, but I also think, shit, man, I really want to try playing Russia and Hearts of Iron 4 instead. So I've got a plan. We're gonna go.
How do I carve time to do this?
Yeah.
I don't feel like life is what happens while you're making other plans, though. Life isn't about the destination; it's about the journey. Life is what's happening right this moment, right this second. This is part of your life.
Put it on a fucking poster.
Come on,
give me something good. You
can't believe all that, right?
Don't trot out the same old platitudes. I want to hear something fresh from the mind of Lewis.
True, though.
Give me some life advice. How can I fix my shitty life?
You have a fantastic life, and you should be
Flex. Life is like a box of chocolates. Mm-hmm. You never know when you're going to accidentally eat the coffee-flavored one and feel actually physically sick to your stomach.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, that's the kind of shit, Lewis. Why can't you give me some advice like that?
Well, maybe I will, P-Flax. Maybe next time we meet up,
I want you to come up with a list.
We'll do like a heart-to-heart. We'll sit down. We'll go out for a nice romantic meal together.
We'll try to retain our masculinity by talking about football and eating sausages and stuff.
But then we'll end up just crying in each other's arms, just like saying how old we are and like how we've wasted our lives.
I don't think I've wasted my life. Not too much.
No,
anyway.
I don't think any of us have.
Not too much, except for that time that you tried to write Happy Valentine's Day on your chest.
Hey, that was a success. Raul thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. Well, at least Raul liked it. That's pretty good.
Let's do Bodega, shall we? Have you got Bodega, P-Flax?
I do. This is a fucking weird Bodega.
I noticed that someone was giving us like advice on how to pronounce the parts. Numbers.
So
there's a big list. Yeah. Which one are we up to right now? Let me just consult the list and I'll tell you how to do it.
I've actually abandoned because I couldn't. I was worried about mispronouncing it, and this lady was super annoyed with the fact that, as I had stated very confidently each time, I do not speak Spanish, and I'm just giving it a bloody good go. So I'm not going to learn how to pronounce 15 in Spanish because...
¿Por qué?
I'm not good enough.
Quince.
15.
15.
Bente.
All right, so this is part quince. All right, that's 15.
What?
Quince.
Okay. 15. Okay.
Quince.
It's quince. It's quince. 100% sure it's quince.
Quinte.
Part quince.
So next week is going to be an interesting one.
What's next week?
Because it's going to be Digestis.
Let me look it up. What is 16?
It's supposed to be the
Oh my God.
The says. Yeah. Wow. 19. Oh, everyone in Spanish has just felt their
I'm sorry,
your whole world is collapsing around you. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
I'm so sorry.
A bodega, part quince. A small monochrome vidscreen flooded the darkness of the Disco Volante's lounge area with bouncing blue light, highlighting the different strata of the vast vape cloud settling in the breezeless space. Bodega was slumped on a sofa. He'd slid halfway down, his legs kicked out way in front of him. His back was beginning to ache from spending so long in this dumb position, but he was too drunk to move. On screen, a yellow jumpsuit-wearing moron was grinding his entire body up against a giant pair of foam buttocks. Behind the moron were more morons, grinding up against their own pairs of foam buttocks. They gyrated and grinded and daggered to the terrible synthy music, while this grade-A varmint hopped up about front, leering at Bodega. Ja, mit der fantastisch butt grinder available from Blatchkop for just 19 krells and 99 schmetz. You can get your body into shape, you flaving fat schlobhund. The 10 Blatchman way is the only way. Don't be a Bodega. Get into shape with me, Tan Blatchman. Ah! Bodega barked, a single unintelligible yet furious sort of honking sound. Next week on the Blatch Hour, we take a tour down memory lane where I will recount to you the many ways that my wife Majesta Blatchman pleases me sexually. Ha 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 ha! Brayed Blatchman as he rode an imaginary horse around the studio, whooping and slapping the air where the horse's flank would be. Who's the cowboy? Me! I ride the pony! Bodega always watched Tan Blatchman's Blatch Hour. He could not explain why he needed to see it week in, week out, but he did. He needed to see Blatchman, and he knew there would be references to Majesta and their relationship constantly. Tan loved bragging about his amazing, beautiful wife, even though she was actually destined to be Bodega's amazingly beautiful wife, and this was clearly just a mind control trick or some flaving dimensional portal thing or whatever. I'm gonna take a gigantic, scary shit, and the destination for that epic turd will be the dick hole of Tan Blatchman, slurred Bodega. Before finally his feet and legs gave way, and like a human mudslide, he slithered all the way down the sofa and finally came to rest on the floor, where he blacked out. He woke with a jump, hand flashing to his lasgun as he felt a cold metal hand on his neck. Just checking your pulse, said Varu, as Bodega relaxed. Ain't gone just yet, pard, groaned Bodega, shuffling into a sitting position. Fix me some scoffy, would you? They do have robot scoffy machines, but I am not one, said Varu, standing and striding to the bridge of the Disco Volante. Well, look, do you think, Bodega began, but he was cut off by a shrill and repetitive pinging sound coming from the bridge. Varu, what did you do? Shouted Bodega, standing and stumbling towards the sound. It's the proximity alert, said Nebish, who was, as always, on the bridge at his computer. We ain't moving, though, said Bodega. I would recommend checking the local sensors, said Nebish. We're cloaked, Neb. Ain't no way anyone can. And yet again, Bodega was interrupted in mid-sentence as the ship suddenly rolled to the left and the artificial gravity cut out. Everyone began tumbling around the interior, banging into things, and things began tumbling around the interior, banging into people and other things. In short, it got messy very quickly. A cup of scoffy was spinning in the air, spewing droplets of hot liquid all over the bridge equipment. Half-eaten food, articles of clothing, some skrells, and a hell of a lot of empty ale bottles, all moving slowly around the inside of the Disco Volante and crashing into each other and creating more bits of rubbish. It was a cascade failure, and soon the entire bridge and all other rooms that weren't sealed off would be thick with particles of refuse. Gawk damn, I wish we had a cleaner, said Reed Chorley as he cartwheeled helplessly past Bodega and straight out into the kitchen area, followed by a hearty crash. Nebish, what the farvis, Bodega began, before being cut off by a huge impact that sent the ship rolling again. If I get interrupted one more time, I'm going to lose my shit, said Bodega, drawing his las gun pointlessly as he nosedived into the engineering room, the las gun flying out of his hand and disappearing into a vent. There was a high-pitched shriek, and then the ship's internal tannoy system crackled into life. Hello, Bodega, mein Freund, said a voice that sent a chill down the spines of decent people everywhere. Arm everything! Fire everything! Shouted Bodega towards the bridge. But everyone was spinning too wildly or being struck by too much garbage to do anything. Yeah, it's too late, we already have boarding of you now, said the voice, and with a brutal skunk sound, the ship was suddenly still, and the artificial gravity returned to normal. Everyone crashed to the ground and was showered in previously floating garbage. A carve beam began cutting through the hull in the cargo bay with a shower of sparks and a terrible tearing sound. Get to your battle stations, shouted Bodega, flipping a sofa over and taking cover behind it. The cut piece of hull crashed to the deck, and loud classical music began playing. A small red carpet rolled out from the hole in the hull, and an even smaller robot rolled down it, dropping rose petals behind it as it went. Presenting Tan Blatchman, shouted the tannoy, and there on the Disco Volante was Tan Blatchman, prancing down the red carpet, waving to an invisible crowd, flexing his muscles, and wearing the gawk-damn idiotic yellow jumpsuit and, worst of all, that cape of his. Tan, take a good look around. These are your last moments, shouted Bodega, preparing to throw a void grenade. Hold your horses, my little cowboy chum. I have some bad news, yeah. I don't want to be in this messy piece of scrub ship any more than you are being vaunting me here. What is it called anyway? The Dicko Vomitanti? That's incorrect, said Varu. And also lame. Well, duh, shouted Tan, before planting his thumbs into his belt loops and standing with his legs improbably far apart, right in the middle of Bodega's lounge. Don't you ever clean this place? And where is the workout area? State your case and then get out, said Bodega from behind the sofa. They took her, said Tan meekly. Who took Majesta? Shouted Bodega. Why are you shouting? I can hear you fine. She was taken, I think, by some baddies, pirates or something, said Tan, casting his eyes around the trashed interior of the ship. Bodega stood slowly, still standing behind the overturned couch. Why did you attack us? Asked Nebish, his hair matted against his face and his glasses cracked. It's just more, dramatic and so on, said Tan casually. I have my audience to think about. What audience? Asked Bodega, gesturing around. This one, said Tan, pointing at the tiny camera droid hovering at his shoulder. Are you broadcasting right now? Said Bodega. Yeah, of course, this is gold, you booby, shouted Tan. Bodega's blood ran cold. Not only had his galaxy-sized anus found them, he'd also given away their position to anyone with a darn TV. And he'd lost Majesta. And he's messed up the ship in a big way. And in fact, he'd sullied it, its whole interior, with his filthy presence. Tan, said Bodega, trying to remain calm, walking slowly towards the absolute moron, posing and pouting in the middle of his ship. Tan, Bodega kept repeating. Bodega was normally a very visibly angry man on occasions such as these, but Blatchman had actually pushed him into an emotional state so extreme, so powerful, that his body lacked the correct gestures or expressions to match it. When he got within 6 feet of Tan Blatchman, Bodega said, Tan, one more time, barely audible, then blacked out and face planted at his feet, prone and unconscious. The ship was quiet for a moment. Tan raised his arms in outrage. Yo, can I get a scoffy or what? The end. That's it.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, what a ride.
It's going to be to be continued, I guess.
Well,
what a thrill ride.
It's just stupid.
Oh my
I just
God,
love Tam Blatchman. I don't know why. I think he might have to join the crew.
I think he'd make a great addition to the crew.
You need some tension. I've been thinking too many of the characters are friends of Bodega.
That's it. A bit of tension, but also he's a very
interesting,
loud character.
I like him a lot, actually.
Yeah,
I like him a lot. Yeah, I think you've done well.
We'll see.
He's evil.
We'll see how the public responds to this.
Yeah.
Colossal.
I thought it was good, man. I thought it was still a really good one.
I thought it was excellent.
Too many of the recent episodes have been like high concept. I just wanted one where dumb shit happened.
Yeah.
And this was a very
like a bridging
dumb
episode.
Very dumb episode. You need some of those.
Like this is like your Empire Strikes Back.
Hey, what?
What?
Are you implying that was just a bridging episode? That was the best one.
It was the best one, but it was a bridging episode.
It was not a bridging episode. The bridging episode would imply that it was just setting things up and that's it.
There was a couple of things resolved and then a couple of things left hanging, which is like, pretty typical bridging episode.
But I always think of
I'm not saying it was just a bridging episode. I'm saying it's the best fucking bridging episode of all fucking time.
I just feel like the term bridging episode makes out that it's just like, that you get those episodes in like a long running drama where nothing really happens. They just move from point A to point B. And it's just like, you could forget that episode in a heartbeat. Like there's no standout moments or anything like that. The Empire Strikes Back was not that, I don't think.
I don't know. There's parts of it that were, I guess there was some pretty big moments in it too. Like Luke finding out that
spoilers,
Darth Vader's father getting his hand chopped. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it, obviously stop listening now. But,
I know a lot of people that haven't ever seen the Star Wars movies.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, my wife hasn't really, she's seen them. Like, she knows of them, but, she's not, a fan or anything.
Well, you've got to understand that's partly why they rebooted it. It's like the same thing I was talking about earlier. It's tough for younger people, to watch what are perceived as old films. And they have aged pretty well, Star Wars films, but, they're such iconic films that, it feels like even if you haven't seen them, you've seen them. I don't know how to say that. Yeah. Right, well, that's all we got time for on Triforce this week. That was amazing. I had a good time. Thank you very much.
Me too.
We will see you all next time.
Cheers.
Goodbye from me. It's goodbye from Sips.
Bye.
It's goodbye from Flax.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.